It's now my pleasure to introduce Paul Ryan. All of my introductions are brief because these people are all luminaries and their bios are in your packet, so you will know all about them. Paul Ryan has represented for 6 terms the 1st District of Wisconsin, and with distinction, he is the ranking Republican on the Budget Committee, an important figure on the Ways and Means Committee, but he is perhaps best known as Congress's official cartographer, having designed his roadmap. And we are particularly pleased to have with us one of the really bright young members of Congress, Paul Ryan of Wisconsin.
Bill's from Minnesota, I'm from Wisconsin. We refer to ourselves as Catholic deer hunters, they're Lutheran deer hunters. You know, we're kind of kissing cousins. I apologize, but I got to leave in 6 minutes to catch a flight. So do you want a 6-minute speech, or do you want a 2-minute speech and Q&A for 4? So, take the 6. Okay, well, okay, a couple of things I would just simply say. It's important that we get out there with specifics, with plans and with ideas on how to fix this fiscal problem. That's what I was trying to do when I put the roadmap out there in 2008 during the Bush administration. That's what I was doing when I reran the numbers with CBO, put out version 2.0 in January of 2010. I won't go through all of the details of this plan because 6 minutes is too short, but you can go to AmericanRoadmap.org if you want to look at all of the details. The point I'm trying to make with this very comprehensive entitlement and tax reform plan and budget process reform plan was not to suggest that, you know, this guy had all the answers to fix this problem. What I was trying to do, and what I'm still trying to do, is get this conversation moving to an adult level. Put a substantive plan out there, which is how I would propose to fix this fiscal problem we have, so that other people would put their plans on the table. So we could get on to the business of debating the merits of various proposals, so we can get on to the business of actually fixing this problem. And what I would just simply say is, with the oncoming entitlement tsunami, with the debt crisis that's coming in this country, which the CBO basically confirmed in July, not a question of if, but of when, we've got to get ahead of this thing. And what I would argue is the sooner we tackle our budget and entitlement problems, the better off everybody's going to be. It is not a question of do we do root canal, painful austerity economics right now or later. No, that's not the choice. The choice is, do we get ahead of this entitlement crisis? Do we put the right kinds of reforms in place right now that do it on our terms so that the changes are gradual and phased in and intelligent? For instance, you don't have to change benefits for people who are already on these programs like Medicare and Social Security. You can phase them in. If you've already organized your life around these programs, if you're about to retire and you've already organized your retirement around them, we can gradually phase these necessary reforms in to save these vital safety net programs and prevent them from imploding. We can do that if we act soon. We can also make sure that we can put in place economic policies that get prosperity back in this country, that put America in the position to lead and thrive in globalization, in the 21st century international economy. So you can have good, Ron and Judd have done this great idea of advancing the tax reform debate that's very constructive. What we're trying to do is say, let's have a plan for prosperity. Let's get ahead of this debt crisis. Let's reform these entitlement programs. Let's use our consensus values that we've reached and established over the 20th century in this country, apply those to the problems, and move forward with a plan that gets prosperity, economic competition, and higher living standards going in this country. I would simply argue, the basic idea behind the roadmap is let's protect the safety net. Let's have a reliable and sturdy safety net. For instance, I actually bring up the minimum benefit in Social Security and Medicare so that people don't fall through the cracks under the poverty line when they're in retirement. But at the same time, I propose, various forms of means testing so that people who are more affluent don't get as much of a subsidy in retirement, when they retire. Basically because they can afford to shovel, to carry more of the burden. So what you have to basically do is get ahead of this problem, start with adult conversations in Washington to fix these issues, and have a tax system that is pro-growth, pro-jobs, pro-exports, and pro-prosperity. The CBO is telling us without a doubt that we are consigning our kids and our grandkids to lower living standards. We know that that is coming. And what's amazing about it is Congress and the White House is not really doing anything about it. And what's particularly troubling at this current silly season we are in is the fact that, again, entitlement reform is being made into a political weapon. I'll just read from Time magazine. Mark Heltrin, in a recent column, said, quote, "In a move as predictable as Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, Democrats are using Social Security scare tactics to gain ground before the November election. President Obama is not only tolerating this classic old politics maneuver by his party, he is leading the charge." In the National Journal Insiders poll, and one of the people who sign up, fill out this poll, it's members of Congress filling out this poll anonymously. A Democrat summed up this election year strategy by saying, with respect to Medicare and Social Security, quote, "I wish we had more to run on than these two tired war horses, but they're probably our best themes." Look, both parties do this to each other. I'm not simply saying that we Republicans have these halos over our heads and the other guys don't. We got to get beyond weaponizing these issues for political gain in the short run. If we don't, if we continue to poison the well on entitlement reform, on tax reform, then it will be bitter austerity. If we kick the can down the road more years in the future, it will be Greek-like austerity. Cuts to current pensioners, cuts to people who rely on the safety net. The safety net itself will get shredded, and big tax increases that will slow down the economy and guarantee those inferior, lower living standards. We've got to get through this political moment. The political weaponization of entitlement reform is very unfortunate. It's hurting our chances of actually getting bipartisan agreement in the near future. It's unfortunate, but we've got to get out there. I just want to close by thanking Maya and all that you do here, Bill, because of all the forces that are out there, you're helping bring the left and the right together to try and get to an adult-level conversation about this. You've actually put ideas out there to move this conversation where it needs to be. A few of us are trying to get there. Unfortunately, the politics are going in the other direction these days, and it's not as if political demagoguery can be turned off on a dime and all goes well. That's the unfortunate moment we find ourselves in. And I just want to, I apologize I can't do Q&A because I got to go catch the flight, but hopefully we can fix this problem. I'm actually pretty optimistic about it because in this country, we always end up getting it right. And like Winston Churchill says, the Americans can be coming on to do the right thing when they've exhausted all other options. And we seem to be going down that path. So thank you very much, everybody. Sorry for the brevity, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congressman Paul Ryan.